Right, good morning. You're still watching Morning Cafe, but now we're switching gears and focusing on the budget 2025-2026. This afternoon at exactly 2:30, CS for Treasury John Mbadi will be making his way to Parliament for his very first time as CS Treasury to present his maiden expenditure estimates for the broad-based government. The Daily Nation calls it the Ruto-Raila first budget. Very many expectations, a lot of complaints, but it would appear that at least this time round, expectations may have been managed somewhat to a large extent. Yes, we'll be having a double panel in studio. With me, I have Professor Fred Ogola, governance and economics expert, and John Munga, finance and accounts analyst, insurance analyst. Karibuni sana and good morning. My colleague Anu Dida is on the other side of studio with a panel made up of younger Kenyans. And remember, they were very vocal last year when it came to the budget making process. She'll be trying to gauge their thoughts on what they feel about the process this time round. But even before we go to Anne, just a quick overview from where you sit. Do you feel that this time round at least expectations have been managed somewhat by CS for Treasury?
I think that what happens is that Kenyans discovered that, let me first of all say no. It is not that they have been managed, it's that Kenyans have resigned to what is their fate. Last time, people opposed the budget, which was 3.9 trillion, with a very bad finance bill, but they even ended up, by the time they finished the year, they had even spent more than 3.9 trillion. And people lost lives. So some of us, I was on the street, I was aggravated. Nowadays, I don't care because we let's focus on the main thing. The problem of going to the street, we went to the social media, now people are being abducted and the rest. So I think Kenyans are just realizing that there must be something that must be done other than just going to the street and saying reject. People have said that instead of every time using the same solution, that we don't get the results, they rather just say, well, do what you are doing, we know what we are going to do to you when the time comes, and that's why the chant for one term has been now the narrative. Because before, it was reject the finance bill, but now people are saying one term. All right.
Munga, do you feel that probably this time round, because we saw the level of engagement when it came to budget making process was a bit heightened last year. Do you think that this time around things have changed?
I think from where I sit, Fred, I would want to say that the expectation of the Kenyan populace has been managed, but with a rider. Remember last year, the challenges we had with the budget making process is that the government had proposed several raft of tax measures that were not palatable to the populace. The populace tried to push back, but the government was kind of not listening to them. And that is what precipitated the riots that we had last year. What the government has done this year that is different is that they pushed this finance bill early enough to the citizenry, and they invited proposals from various lobby groups, from various quarters. And those lobby groups have brought in their proposals. And some of them have been adopted, some of them have been are not adopted. So when I say that the government has kind of listened to the population, then that is where I'm coming from, that at least this time round, there has been public participation in the government, the budget making process. And if you look at the final bill that is going to Parliament today, it has taken into account most of the proposals that, say, for example, ISPAC gave, that the Kenya Association of Manufacturers gave, that LSK gave, not all of them, but a raft of the proposals that they gave. I think that is why you are seeing maybe being cautiously optimistic that this process will come to a positive conclusion at the end of the budget making process.
Yes.
Fred.
There have been promises here by especially the CS Treasury that yes, this time round the finance bill, and I know it's not the finance bill being discussed today,